Welcome to LaTour Retirement Talk. I'm your co-host, Tony Shore, and I'm here with our hosts, Jim Margraf and Josh LaTour. Two great minds, one great show, LaTour Retirement Talk. I love it. And notice how I just said two great minds, and then of course the eye candy.
Right.
Myself,
there you go.
Dr. Tony Shore. Yeah. Yeah, I'm along for the ride, I guess. But guys, great to see you again today. I know we've got a great show lined up for the folks today, kind of a fun one. In the spirit of the season. We're here in October, toward the end of October, and I guess we all know what that means, right?
That's right.
It's time for a few people to get scared of a little bit,
We're not going to try to scare people in the show.
Spooky.
It
We're going to try to make it so people aren't scared with the show, right?
Sure. I mean, a little scary.
Right.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm excited. How have you guys been? Let's start with you, Josh. What's going on in your life?
Oh, Tony, I've been fantastic. Got the little baby, and he's just getting bigger every second. It seems like he actually just yesterday his two front teeth, the top teeth, popped out, and so he's been having a time with that. But now we got to make sure he doesn't grab a hold of our finger and chomp down because he's got top and bottom teeth now.
Oh wow! Well, his two baby teeth came out, right?
But yeah, so the bottoms were already through, and now the tops are through. So
oh, okay. Because it reminds me, it's the wrong holiday, but all I want for Christmas is my two front teeth.
Yep,
that's an old.
He got
song.
him in time.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. So you're keeping busy on the home front, and I know fall and October is probably the busiest time of the year for financial planners, and that's why. By the way, October is Financial Planning Month. Did you guys know that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I assume you did. Yeah. I guess it's like you're like, yeah, we knew that.
Yeah, Tony.
We celebrate every year.
We're financial planners. Well, I don't know when Radio Show Co-host Day is, but we can find out.
We'll say it's today. That's
yeah. No, that's one thing at a time. That's all we can handle. Financial Planning Month is big enough without adding to it. So, Jim, how have you been? What's going on with you?
I've been good, Tony. Nothing too much out of the ordinary or unusual for me. Nothing to stand out story-wise, but just the everyday, enjoying life. I always enjoy going home and get tackled by my 11-year-old at every opportunity he can find, right? So he seems to forget the fact that he is rapidly growing and he weighs a good bit more than he used to. And so when he lands, it makes an impact.
Yeah.
So I had to tell him the other day, hey, listen, take it easy, buddy. You can't just, throw your full weight anymore. Just
you got to be careful with your aging father.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, aging father. Oh, no, Jim, you're still a young pup. Yeah, don't let him. Don't let him give you a hard time. That's for sure. Well, hey, guys, I know that the topic today is avoiding spooky retirement mistakes. So where do you want to start us?
Well, I think that the thing we always want to look at is, we don't want to be making mistakes and with our retirement funds, and we want to avoid as many of them as possible. Because people often wonder, how much am I going to need? Are my savings still going to be there for as long as I'm going to be living? And when should I claim Social Security? All these types of things are on people's mind.
Right.
And so what we want to do is kind of go over some of these and, kind of do what we can to eliminate those mistakes from people's lives.
Yeah. Well, and that's good. I mean, obviously, again, baby boomers, Gen Xers, people wonder, they're worried or afraid of how much they'll need, whether their savings will hold up, right?
Oh, absolutely, Tony. I mean, that is a big worry for a lot of people. And I think one of the ways to help alleviate some of those fears is just by doing proper planning and planning early enough for that stage of life, making sure that you've put away enough money, because the elephant in the room on whether or not you're going to be able to retire well is how much you're willing to put away and how much work you're willing to put into it in the early years. And so building the right habits is a huge thing. The right financial habits when you're young is, I think it's paramount to retiring well. Otherwise, you're really relying on getting lucky in order to retire well if you don't prepare properly. So I think that's something that's important. And then making sure you're meeting with a financial advisor who understands your situation and can help you put together the proper plan for your future.
Yeah, exactly. And that's going to alleviate a lot of the fears and help you sleep well at night, isn't it? Having a plan, a written plan in place, and working with folks like yourselves and the team there at LaTour, correct?
Tony, you're exactly right. I sat down with a couple yesterday, and I had helped him, the husband, go through his retirement funds, and we had gotten everything set for him. However, the wife was very nervous. I mean, really nervous. And what was interesting for her situation is that the pressure on work was actually building as she's at this stage of life. And she's like,
sure,
at this stage, they're wanting to make so many changes. They're adding responsibilities. And she said, I don't know if I can do this. And the husband actually said to me, he said, if I can't figure out how to retire her, I'm going to lose her. And I said, I was like, okay, we're going to sit down. We're going to figure this out. And so he had actually called me prior to the appointment. We had run through some numbers. He said, I want to do this even before we get in there and talk to you face to face. And we sat down, and at the end of the appointment, or I should say about halfway through, when I presented all the numbers to her, she looked at me and she actually started to tear up.
Oh,
so the relief that she could, she said, when can I do this? I said, you can do it tomorrow if you want.
Wow.
She doesn't have to wait, 2 or 3 more years before she could retire. She was really quite emotional over it. And her husband was too. And just having the written plan in place, they were holding all of these numbers in their head, and you can't make complete sense of it that way. But when we had them all written down, here's what the income's going to look like. Here's how much you're going to have in investments. Here's how much is liquid accessible. Here's how much is for later. All of this. And she started to tear up, and she's like, I can do this. I was like, you absolutely can. And I mean, it's a wonderful story. And the thing is, that happens. It happened this morning again with a dear lady. And she said, I like this. She said, this is going to work. And so, the sleep well at night, the peace that people get from having a written plan. It really is amazing to me. I've been doing this for years now, but seeing what happens when you take all the numbers out of your head, put them on paper, and get that plan written down, it is such a big help.
Yeah. Yeah, it's huge. And just that relief that you feel. I mean, that's a great example. It's like we've said before, the SWAN plan, SWAN, sleep well at night plan, right?
I like it. Yeah. So that's some of the things that you can do just preliminary to make sure that you're not falling into some of the financial mistakes, the spooky mistakes in retirement we want to avoid. But let's talk about some of those mistakes. Let's, bring some light into that situation where people end up stumbling in the dark and messing up. So we want to make sure we're not falling for scams. That is an absolutely huge thing. I had a couple in my office last week, or no, it was earlier this week. And they told me they had a scam that they fell for. This is one I haven't heard before, so I've just got to share it. It was somebody at Amazon. They called Amazon themselves about a package. This guy at Amazon, an actual employee, wasn't a bad actor, wasn't a fake person out there. It was an actual employee of Amazon, was running a scam. And he told them that a supervisor would call them back. And that supervisor was a fake, was not actually an employee of Amazon.
Oh, wow.
And so they ended up getting some money from him. It wasn't a crazy amount of money, but it was still, they're working through their bank and they're working through Amazon, and they're trying to find who's responsible for this and make sure it's taken care of. But things like that, I mean, it's scary, because it used to be that these scams were they were so blatantly obvious. But anymore, they're getting more and more sophisticated, and you got to learn to tell the telltale signs.
Yeah.
And for this dear lady that was in my office and telling me about it, she said, yeah, then he said to go to Walmart and get gift cards. I'm like, nope, this isn't right. so she knew some of the signs to watch for.
No.
But it was sophisticated enough that, she knew she'd called Amazon, and he had set her up with a supervisor. So why would she suspect anything's wrong until they really started, trying to pull a fast one there. So making sure you're paying attention is the biggest thing. And honestly, reading up on what the popular scams of the day are. It's unfortunate that we need to do that, but it's something that I think is necessary, because it seems like the scams kind of throughout the year, they follow different themes of what's the popular scam for that general time period. So paying attention to what's happening out there is important.
And Josh, we just had someone earlier this week also that called in because he had gotten a call from Social Security. And
classic.
I did not get the call. Just one of the receptionists did. And I said, give me their phone number. I called them right back. I said, did you give them any information? He said, no, I didn't. He said, I called you guys. And, that's part of what we're here for our clients.
Yeah.
And I walked him back through it, what the plan was for his Social Security. And I said, all right, here's the number for you to call for the local office. You call them, and then that you can, you have some reasonable level of confidence that you can give them all of your information and get your, because he did have an issue that needed to be straightened out, but he did not get a letter. They called him, and that is not something that's typical for Social Security. Right. So I said he didn't give any information out, which I said, good call.
Yep.
Let's call the local office and deal with it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. If you even suspect you're getting scammed, call your financial advisor and run it by them. If you're just not confident, I think that was a great thing for him to do.
It was.
Yeah. Yeah. I really think that these scams, they've gotten so intricate. They've gotten so, I don't know what the word is, but they really have gotten more complex, more convincing, haven't they?
They have.
It's a problem.
Yep.
Yeah. So what's another mistake that can be scary that we need to avoid?
Well, I think the next one is just planning to work forever. And you say, well, Jim, isn't it a good thing? Well, some people expect to retire, much later. They're planning on just continuing to work, and they don't save as much because they have this plan of, I'm just going to work. And, but there's health conditions that come up and surprise people. There's layoffs that can cut a career short as well. So if you're saving, it makes work optional, right? So that's where I think the mistake here is if I plan on not saving, I'm just always going to work, and I don't have. So if I'm always going to work, I don't have to save. Well, maybe I don't know about some future health event or a layoff or something like that, and so having something set aside to weather that storm is a good thing. So that would be another mistake that we would recommend guarding against.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think, "Oh, I'm great. I love my job. I want to work forever." But you have to be realistic, and you still need to plan. I don't need to worry about retirement funds. I'm going to work until I'm 75. Well, that may be your attitude now, but your health or your work, your company, there might be layoffs. You have to plan for these things, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Tony. I mean, we say it time and time again, but planning is paramount. And honestly, that leads me into my next point is planning for Social Security. People often discount the importance of Social Security. And it really is an important stream of income because it's the foundation of your retirement income. We want to make sure it's laid properly. And so some people just file too early when they didn't need to. There's penalties when you apply early, some of them being just the fact that it's a lower amount that you're receiving. And in some cases, that's okay. It's not always bad to file early. But if let's say you're working and you're making over what the earnings test limit is, well, then it's a real problem because now you've locked in a lower amount and you're going to be giving it back because you're over the earnings test limit. That's a problem. We don't want to be giving back the money to the government and locking in a lower rate for our Social Security. So planning is a huge thing when it comes to basically all things retirement. You want to make sure you're planning properly, and Social Security is no exception.
Yeah. 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 You want to make sure that you've got that locked up. And I think that's one thing right now that's scaring a lot of people is Social Security. I mean,
Right.
there's so many things that I hear out there about Social Security going away, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, we hear it all the time.
I mean, and it's scary. Listen to this.
Here's another truth. Social Security is dying.
I mean,
Right.
that scares me. I don't think there's anything more scary than that, right?
Well, absolutely, Tony. And I think some of the concerns in Social Security are viable. And I also think that some of them are pushed by politicians that are, using that fear to gender votes. And both sides of the aisle do it. I don't care which side of the aisle you vote on. They all do it because it's such a hot button topic, and they're going to get all the political mileage out of this solvency issue that they can. But the fact is, they are going to have to fix it. If politicians start messing with baby boomers' Social Security, they're going to have political suicide on their hands because that's a huge voting block. And so they're going to have to fix it. And there's a number of ways to do it. It's just they're going to get all the mileage out of it they can before they eventually do shore it up properly.
Yeah.
Honestly, Tony, the fix for Social Security is actually pretty easy. It's, it's not really that complicated to fix it, unless, of course, or I should say, apparently, if you're a politician.
Right. Well, they're having problems fixing anything right now. I don't think they should let Congress take a break until the government shutdown is fixed.
Well, right.
That's not being political. That's neither. I think both sides should get in there. They shouldn't be allowed to take a leave or a break until that's done.
No, I think they should work extra hours.
Work until it's done, period.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, speaking of work, I think the next mistake we want to look at here is borrowing from your 401k. And the big risk when you borrow from your 401k is what happens if you leave your job or get laid off. Those funds that you pulled out of your 401k are going to be counted as a distribution.
Right.
Okay. Now, if you're younger than age 59 and a half, that's also going to add in a 10% penalty.
Right.
So it adds insult to injury. So you end up paying taxes on it plus penalties. You may have been planning to pay it back, but now you can't. If you've either left the company for any reason. So, this is something where I highly discourage borrowing from that 401k. Many times what can happen is, you may end up not contributing because you're trying to pay that loan back, or you can end up sacrificing some employer match as well. So you really set yourself back when you borrow from that 401k. If at all possible, look at some other resource if you need to borrow some funds.
Yeah. And borrowing from your 401k, that may sound like a good idea, but that's scary.
It is.
Yep. It absolutely is. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, I know we're kind of doing a fall themed show here, but
or Halloween. I mean, these are scary. Okay. Oh, jeepers.
All right.
That scared me. Holy cow.
So, but in the spirit of it, even spring cleaning, we want to be careful of, Tony. So decluttering too much, throwing away some of the things that we probably should be holding on to. There's tax documents, pay stubs, things like that we may need to be able to get a hold of if we had a financial audit, a tax audit, or something like that. You want to at least keep the last 7 years of those important documents. Now, maybe financial statements. I don't know how necessary it is to keep every single statement for the last 7 years, but there's sometimes people just go through a decluttering phase and they get rid of everything, and it's too much. I did something similar on a probably less important scale, but I deleted all my emails a few years back because I was up
On purpose?
On purpose, up to a certain date. It was like 6 months before I got rid of all my emails because I just had too many, and I was running out of space in my email folder. And this was my personal email. And then my wife and I went on vacation a couple months later. We were about to head on vacation, and it occurred to me that the rental car that I had absolutely no record. I didn't have a confirmation number or anything.
Oh, no.
So I ended up calling the rental company. Thankfully, I remembered which one I went through, and they were able to give me the information. I was like, these are the dates that I'm going to be here. This is my name. Can you tell me what my confirmation number is? And so they were able to hook me up. But
oh, good.
Because I wasn't paying attention, I decluttered too far. And that's what we're talking about here. And it's even more important when it comes to our important financial documents. So you just want to be careful with that.
That story scares me. I've actually done that, like with concert tickets now. They're all online. I accidentally deleted an email, and that just the feeling, or your airline ticket. All the confirmation numbers come to you via email or text now. So, it's crazy. That story really scared me. I mean, that's crazy. So, yes, exactly. Decluttering too far. That's not one I would have guessed you would have included. So, Jim, what's another one?
So the next one is putting the kids first. Now, wait a minute. You say, hey. So a lot of people say, hey, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pay for the college expenses. I'm going to pay for the weddings and do all of that.
Right.
And that's nice. But are you taking from your own retirement funds?
Sure.
And if you're going to leave yourself too short on retirement funds, maybe we need to think twice about what we're paying for here. Right. I have some people that I've talked to where they gave the kids a house, an older house that they moved out of, and they built themselves a new one, but the kids were still in there and hadn't gotten their stuff, and they just we'll just leave it there. I mean, if they're going to keep the house, they could be getting rental income or something like that, and they are literally delaying their own retirement because of having just let the kids live in this house, and it's been years now. And now what do we do? And so, but putting the kids first and doing that has actually hurt them.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is something we want to consider on our budget. Do I pay for that college education? Do I pay for that wedding? Do I put all of that money aside for the kids, or
am I going to need that first? So
am I going to need it?
Yeah. I think, it's human nature as a parent or a grandparent to want to spoil our kids, or not even spoil them, but help them.
Sure.
I think that's great, but it's the old airline analogy. When the oxygen masks drop in case of emergency, you put yours on first, then you help your kids.
Yep.
Yeah. Excellent point. I can appreciate the heart behind it, but sometimes it's taken too far, and it ends up, and that's just, honestly, that doesn't help anybody, because if you're going to end up having to turn around and then lean on your kids financially because you stretch yourself too thin to help them, then it just kind of ends up being a catch-22.
Yeah.
So.
Now, we do have some, I do have some clients that have sold their kids a house, and their kids are paying them a monthly payment instead of going to a bank for the mortgage. The mom and dad are holding the mortgage. And they said, what do you think about that? I said, I think it's great. You're getting the price of the house plus the interest, and your retirement is going to be just fine. And so, it really is a balancing act. And all of, I think, everything with retirement is how much do we want to spend versus how much do we save? It's all, where's the middle? Where's that fine line that really works out best for us?
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. And so, you mentioned homes. I think your next mistake on your list deals with this too, doesn't it?
It does, Tony. And this one honestly can be truly spooky. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
What's that?
Timeshares.
Oh, timeshare. So that reminds me. Hello, I'm cold, and there are wolves after me. That's how scary timeshares are to me.
I
have heard horror stories about this. I have friends that have had this happen to them, but tell us about it.
I honestly don't know why they're even legal, Tony. Jim and I were talking about it before the show.
I don't either.
No.
Now, I'll preface it with saying that I know there are some out there that have actually done served some people well, and it's got to be the right timeshare, and it has to be the right person, because I actually have clients that have one that they want to keep because they enjoy going to this particular place every single year, and that's just what they love doing. It's worked out for them. That is definitely the exception, not the norm. Right. And so a lot of times there's upfront costs that are hidden, so many hidden fees.
Oh, man.
And then my parents used to have a timeshare that they spent years trying to get rid of this thing. They used it, I think, one time when they first got it, and they tried to use it a couple other times, and there was never availability for where they wanted to go.
Right.
It was just, I mean, you couldn't book something even a year out in advance. It was just always full. So it was, I mean, it was just a scam, really. So we want to be sure that really that should have been looped in with scams, because oftentimes timeshares are really just a big scam. So want to be careful there.
I mean, and they're a big thing down a little bit south of where we are here in Springfield, Missouri, you know, down in the Branson, Missouri area. There's a lot of timeshare sales that happen down there. And it's interesting, the billboards as you leave the Branson area along the highway talk about, are you tired of your timeshare? Are you trying to get out of your timeshare?
How to get out of your timeshare. They've developed a cottage industry. And I even read one article where this company, and they did get in trouble, but what they were doing is they would have, and they did the billboard thing. That's what triggered me remembering on the way in. They said, timeshares, you know, free meal and gift cards for Branson, get in free to all the shows, just come to this meeting. And they would sell the timeshares, and the billboards on the way out of town. They also owned the company, How to Get Out of Your Timeshare.
Oh boy, yes.
And so they got people coming and going, but they were both basically a scam. They were both taking your money,
right,
and not getting a lot for it. So,
right.
Yeah, you really, really have to watch out. I would go to a financial professional and an attorney with that contract. Those contracts are crazy. Don't sign anything without having a trusted attorney who's done a real estate attorney who knows what they're doing and doesn't work for the timeshare company.
Right.
Ideally.
Now my dad went to one of those timeshare deals, and there's always this free gift that they were going to give you.
Oh yeah.
And you know, my wife and I went to one, you know, just out of curiosity for something one time. And they said they give you this TV that's rated at, you know, like $1,000 TV. And I don't know where they got the retail value of this thing. The thing was the size of a cotton picking postage stamp. And they're calling it $1,000 TV. Now, my dad made out, he got himself a nice set of golf clubs. Yeah. And I've told him, listen, when you're gone, this is where they're coming.
We went to one once because they said free airfare to, I forget where it was, Key West, somewhere in Florida, Orlando. So round trip from wherever you live, if you come and sit through this timeshare. Well, we went to it and we sat through it. And it was at a hotel in one of the ballrooms. We sat through it with a bunch of other people. And we, you know, they gave the pitch and they came around trying to sign us up. And we go, no, we just want our free ticket. We're not going to sign up. We just want the airline ticket. And they did not want to let us go without signing the contract. They did not want us to give it, but we ended up getting a voucher for round trip airfare. And we did not buy the timeshare because I knew, luckily, before we went in. But we had to spend 2 hours. I mean, the thing was an hour, and then they spent an hour trying to keep us there, captive there, until we would sign. And I mean, those sales pitches they're really, I mean, they really work hard to get you.
They do. There. They tug on those emotional heartstrings.
They sure do, and they promise the world too. That's the problem. So we're going to move on to an even more serious one now. I think. What's another big mistake?
Well, thinking about the long-term care, and you're not planning for that, because you know we all get to the place where we need extra help, right? We unfortunately, it's the you know, as Josh is experiencing with his son, the beginning of life, it's exciting, it's thrilling, and all the new discoveries. But on the other end, it's we need some help on that. So if we look at our finances and set some money aside, if at all possible, set some aside for the long-term care. Now, I know that your traditional long-term care policies are quite expensive, but there are some alternative ways of doing it to get us that coverage. So it's not a use it or lose it regarding those funds type of a situation. So there are some other things that can be done.
Yep. I think that's great. Well, hey, we're out of time. I just noticed we're beyond time here. We got some bonus content for our video viewers. But a great show today. I think it's been fantastic. Really quick before we go, let our listeners know how they can get a hold of you.
Absolutely, Tony. Listeners, just give us a call. Our number's 417-641-3497. And check out our website, LaTourAsset.com.
All right. Well, hey, guys, great show today. Kind of spooky. Appreciate that. Listeners, thanks for tuning in. That does it for today's episode of LaTour Retirement Talk.